Welcome back, guys, to the Super Week of the OPL. It's all in the new year. We've got, what's that, Lux behind us, a couple of dragons. Cool stuff going everywhere.
I agree, that is Lux. Yeah. If we can,
Spawn, Agent. Yeah. Were you trying to pull?
No, I was trying to like, switch the
no, it's just on me. Scary. All right, cool. Let's get into that one. Direwolves took down Bombers game number one. Want to focus on the Bombers. Did they show anything to you? Is there a heartbeat still ticking underneath there? Are they alive? Did you see movement?
I mean, they were definitely alive. They moved around the map a little bit, I think. It was definitely a comprehensive victory by the Direwolves. They kind of had control of the game from early on. Found Seb in his jungle, and then he was never out of vision. But I think they laned okay for the most part. And then in these top of the table versus bottom of the table clashes, the worst thing, the thing I hate seeing is when the top of the table team just literally just like kills every lane. And you're like, oh, wow, what could they have done better? They go, oh, just don't die in lane. Like, what? There's nothing to take away from that. But I think Bombers, definitely, they were matching things in lane. They weren't winning overall. We mentioned Direwolves did have like priority in all three lanes for the majority of that game, but Bombers weren't dying. They did have pressure. They did try and make like some plays here and there, but unfortunately just not enough.
This time around in a soft counter pick, Sleeping showed that he had very good control over the lane, so I think that's a positive. Luch also had a couple of team fights. However, let's go through this. It's going to be Rise, Braum, Tom Kench, and it's going to be Sejuani, Azir, and Zoe taken away, and Gangplank is locked in.
So, Sleeping got his confidence in this game now, and they're confident enough to leave up the Gangplank again. I really hope that's not a Vlad top. I really want to see the Riven again. They hovered it. Just pick it.
I mean,
he can show he can beat Chippies in a 1v1, like he can.
At the same time,
matchup irrespective.
Is a counter pick to Gangplank.
Yeah, it is, but it's not Riven.
And they're just going very comfort picks here. It's going to be, obviously, Kha'Zix picked up for Shern, picks his own champion in case someone mucks that one up. And then Alistair again prioritized.
This is real weird for me, to be honest. From Cupcake, picking that Alistair.
He's played it well.
I mean, he has, but it's just super weird to come into week 4, week 5 and literally just blind pick Ali over everything. Obviously, Dire was prioritizing that one heavily.
I think the thing is that both Chippies and Shern don't play engage.
Yep.
Even when Shern's on an engaged champion, he doesn't really play engage. Like, I think that leaves holes that you can look to exploit. Like, Shern, even when he plays Zac, he's like a ganking Zac jungler.
Yeah.
And back then, like, the games didn't go late enough versus Direwolves, so you would see, like, is he a really good engager? And I think that we've seen, like, in 50-50 scenarios when Shern is on tanks internationally against, like, very good teams, that he can be punished on it.
Yeah, he's definitely, like, an invade-heavy jungler. So he does use those, like, Jarvan EQ uses Zaki or whatever, like, in the jungle, more so than anything else. Not in really engaging team fights. The Taric is the answer. Obviously, Tahm Kench and Braum were banned away. The Ezreal ban will come through, so it's going to be a lot of 80 carries being banned away. Neither team picked theirs up yet. So
do they get rid of Sivir here and take Tristana? Like, really only carry that's sticking out like a sore thumb right now. That's going to leave you things like, I mean, Jinx, Kog'Maw.
Yeah, well, Kog'Maw's in the gutter. Something like
Varus,
a 46% win rate right now. So, yeah, Varus, Tristana, Twitch, maybe. Kalista, obviously, the other big one, does get banned away by the Bombers, so that won't be played.
Didn't want to give over the Kelly Starling.
Yeah, very strong lane. King, looking baffled. Doesn't know what Bombers are doing.
Into Ali. So, because it's very hard to spell shield the second part of it. And Riven actually gets banned away. They think it might be the Do as well.
Yeah, they do actually respect the Vlad flex. And yeah, the Ali Sivir matchup is actually super interesting because as the Ali, you start just comboing in, but just headbutting and then not pulverizing. Because obviously the spell shield eats both. So you just come these little mind games where you combo the first few times and you kind of train the Sivir to be like, hey, okay, you need to... oh, actually, that's going to be the Jhin. You need to spell shield this one, but then you just start with a headbutt and then pulverize afterwards. But yeah, the Jhin
got a buff. Base damage on the ultimate is up. No tank yet in sight. Means that he can go something like Duskblade into IE and do a ton of damage throughout this game.
Yeah, and saying that though, works both ways. Jhin does a lot of damage, can one-shot something like the Kha'Zix, but obviously Kha'Zix can one-shot the Jhin if he's ever caught separated from his team. They do have the Taric for a little bit of safety, but Talia will be locked in once again from triple, and
that has to be a top Vlad now because Vladimir does notoriously bad against Talia and Orianna, two of the picks in the meta that Vladimir just doesn't do all that well against, in my opinion. So all of a sudden, maybe looking for something like an Azir to come out and...
Oh, Karma, okay.
Luch in off-season.
Yes.
Was hitting everyone with Karma Lulu mid.
Yep, also the Lulu. So that's real weird. Coming into the season, because I actually remember seeing it, he's the only player that was actually playing these things. And I talked to Swiffer, and he's like, no, it's not good. And I talked to Luch, I'm like, why are you playing these champions? Like, nobody is touching this. And he's just like, I just think they have good matchups.
Yep.
I think they're good. Obviously, we know what they do. They're not like aggressive, damage-heavy champions. They want to be able to play around the AD carry, facilitate the rest of the team, healing, shielding, that sort of stuff.
I think pressing R and getting the Vladimir into the back line with an E could also be a very good potential here.
Yep, Gangplank and Talia, both very immobile carries there on the side of the Direwolves, so see if that one does come into fruition here, but we do have to mention the Gangplank for Chippies. First time we've seen it today. First time it's actually made it through the first round of bans, and Chippies will be the one to pick it up again. Direwolves just seem week to week to be so comfortable. They haven't really needed to experiment anywhere.
No.
They're just like, okay, like we like Ali. We're going to play a bunch of Ali. You leave Gangplank up, we're going to pick Gangplank. Like Talia, she gets lane priority.
In
Let's play
saying
Talia.
that, Direwolves, I feel like the one game they lost versus Order was actually kind of like the cocky loss because they were like, we play Gangplank, it is first pickable. Do not leave it up, we will beat you with it. Then they're like, we'll give it to Order and see how it goes. And then Tally popped off on it and arguably carried out that game. Obviously, Rogue's Thresh was also a very impactful champion, one would say.
Definitely was.
However, I thought that was going to be the litmus test. I thought that was like, okay, not even Direwolves can win against this champion. Let's get him out of here.
Ban him every single red side, but we do see Bombers. I mean, if any team is going to leave it up, this has been twice from the Bombers so far, so picking the Vlad into that one here instead of the Riven.
See how it goes. So we are on to Summoner's Rift for Game 2 between Direwolves and the Bombers. Let's throw it over to Laura, who's alongside Sharp.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here alongside Sharp. The Bombers have picked Karma in the mid lane. What are your thoughts on that pick at the moment?
To be honest, I haven't really seen too much Karma. I actually don't even know if Luch has been playing it. I probably should have done more scouting otherwise. But yeah, like I think Karma previously has been known to be a counter into comps that play Vlad, not necessarily with Vlad. I guess Karma offers a lot of shields and supporting utility, stuff like that. So it's a little bit confusing, but I guess we'll have to see what Bombers have in store for us.
On the same note, they've also picked up Jin, something we haven't seen much of. What are your thoughts on him going into that bot lane?
I mean, I think that game, 80 carries got pinched a bit. So it's kind of characteristic to see, I guess, unorthodox picks come out when 80 carries get pinched. And we're ready for that. Calvin has an extremely deep champion pool. So, I mean, it's, again, another interesting pick that they may have been practicing. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Now, we saw you also take out the Hungry Jacks 1v1 takedown competition. How did it feel beating Fantix, the 2017 OPL MVP?
Well, to be honest, like there's a little personal vendetta between me and Richard since in the past, like it may not be public information, but Richard, I swapped my out mid lane for Richard back in the day in the original Direwolves roster. I actually moved to top lane for him and became a Maokai one trick for him. So yeah, definitely really good to get back at him for that.
Well, best of luck with this series and thank you for talking to us
That's
today.
Thank you.
And at the time, Bryce, one of the most confusing lane swaps ever.
I hated it.
Because Richard, or Fantix, was known as Perfection back then and was the most monstrous top lane carry player, things like Hecarim, you have ever seen. And he got Direwolves to the 2015 Split 1 final, carrying on those picks, and then randomly just showed up as a mid laner next split.
I lost that. I lost in the semi-finals on Legacy at the time against Fantix Swap. He just had the horse and he trampled all over my hopes and dreams. But obviously not in this game here. Sharp picked up that little 1v1. We're into game number 2, Direwolves versus Bombers.
And I like throwbacks like that because, you know, if you're just looking on paper, they'll be like, why do you keep putting Fantix top lane? He's never played top lane. Direwolves only have ever played with Perfection, Sharp, and now Chippy's top lane. But, of course, they were the same people. Little fun trivia facts coming out for you.
So we do see again the evolution of the Gangplank top going from something like a Doran's into the Relic. Now they just start Relic, so going for that greedy early lane phase. Wants that extra gold gen, wants that scale up.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's going to happen is this is one of the lanes that you can get forced off farm as Cupcake looking for some damage. Rosie missed that stun. Tiger, however, does get a lot of return damage, and Cupcake falling very low.
The entire time, King was actually just hitting minions. He's like, Cupcake, you messed up, dude. Unfortunately, you're going to cop a beating here, and he just wants to farm the CS. Didn't want to miss any of those. So he does take about half of his HP. That's going to be a couple of pots he's going to have to chug through here.
See already, reset out of the mid lane for triple, goes back, gets himself a second Dorans as well as a tome. So going to look to win out on that push again. And the builds towards push priority have been super interesting here because Karma can get very quick mana regeneration from something like an Athene's. It is just so much cheaper than going for a Morellonomicon.
Yep.
And because there's no Vlad or anything like that, I feel like Luch actually can, at some point, with very cheap cooldown reduction, very cheap AP, start winning this push battle.
Dematerialize is obviously also going to play a big part there. I feel like just in terms of how the mid lane is actually pushed, because Karma, she doesn't really, without using the ulti, which you get every now and again, like, you can't kill the entire wave with one ability. Talia, obviously, can just spam a couple of Qs, just going to take it all down, whereas you have to like kill off the separated melees and the range.
Yep.
So if Luch doesn't actually have any kill threat onto triple, I feel like he's not going to be able to access the wave from an angle that lets him push both. Fire.
Once in here, you can see King had just jumped in as well as Cupcake's flash, so Tiger had to flash in response. Very nicely played from both lanes, obviously.
So, only 5 minutes in, Fire looked for the first gank there, but does not blow anything. But the flashes are gone from Cupcake, and
that was very nice from Triple. A little bit of a mind game. Thought the minion wave was going to be prioritized there. Luch, he's also going for Morellonomicon, so forget everything I said. Morello is the choice right now.
Seb, having a much better start to this game. He's not currently sitting on a ward, but Churnfire is going to see him up here. Smite not available for either jungler. Oh, but he does have to give it up. Does not want to fight the Kha'Zix.
That is a huge leash.
So that, yeah, Churnfire says thank you very much. He's going to one-hit a Gromp and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, that is
Thanks,
so
man.
nice of Seb to do that for him.
Yeah. What a kind jungler. Gives that away to the enemy team. Another game where actually bot lane doesn't have the unsealed spellbook this time. Cupcake, instead of going for that one, obviously with King on the Tristana instead of the Sivir, he's not going to grab the TP or the spellbook or anything like that. So he opts in for the extra damage, for the extra tankiness of that Resolve Mastery, of the Aftershock.
Obviously running Resolve as secondary right now, and it looks like King potentially has boots, while it will be the stopwatch picked up. Sorry, Inspiration.
Yep. Double Inspiration tree coming out of the bot lane. And I mean, Biscuit's something that's kind of slowly become the norm.
They're OP.
It was just absolutely not touched upon release. I guess Inspiration, honestly, a lot of people were looking at that tree, they're like, what is this? This is all garbage. Like, why do you want free boots? I want to roam around the map. This stopwatch thing, like, that's not that good. Like, it's okay, but I don't want to take the rest of the tree. But and there's just so much value has kind of crept into the rest of these things. Biscuit's become the norm now. Almost majority of lanes take it, the more often than not. You see the spellbook kind of came out of nowhere.
Yep.
For the most part, it was just considered something, a bit of a meme. You saw a Blitzcrank running around every now and again with a smite. Shout out to T-Gun for being that disgusting kind of player.
I like it, honestly. I think that's real fun.
It's just gross. Like, imagine if you hook away a jungler's buff at level 1 and can actually smite that away. That is just so obnoxious.
I like it more for what he was saying, you know, in lane, you smite away the caster creeps, and obviously you run Targon, so you still get gold over to the 80 carry, and then you just hook them through it, because people just stand behind caster creeps.
If you got one creep, then you think you're safe, but unfortunately against the Goon, you're not Churnfire.
Here comes Shern, actually gets a very nice gank out, burns a summoner spell only for his ultimate. And straight away pings out that he's going to the red buff, even though his top side is pushed in so far. And we'll just counter jungle that 108. No, he just gets the deep ward.
Yeah, he knows sleeping is coming because he obviously has the priority. Can he actually win this 1v1? A level down. He's looking for it.
Yeah, certainly is. You can see he does some big damage, however, sleeping. Just walks away from that one.
Yeah, but that was a really nice synergy out of the mid-jungle duo.
This is greedy from Shern. He should be punished for this because you can see Talia had actually gone bottom side. They knew that because spotted on a ward. So Seb should be able to get in here. Instead, they're just giving up their buff.
Yeah, wants to just clear out the ward there, clear away the vision. So he doesn't get there in time. He's going to check his buff and notice that it's down. So you have to question that out of Seb. Playing very tentatively now. Triple actually has priority again in this matchup and is on the top side.
And that is a little bit of the Churnfire effect. I think if that's anyone else, you're like, what is this guy doing? We're just going to go walk in and kill him. Come on, boys, let's go. But it's Shern, and you're like, oh, you know, I don't know whether I can do this.
Maybe he's a genius. I don't know.
Maybe he has red smite again for some weird reason, and he's going to one-hit me. But this is just, you know, it's a respectful play. You can appreciate the caution, but I think at times Bombers have been overly cautious. As Shern says, sorry, mate, you don't get a blue buff. That's mine.
And I mean, giving inches to a player that's incredibly good, like a great player, is kind of where they take those small advantages for free. And then they snowball them into something big. So, as you mentioned, the Schönfire effect, as Cupcake is looking for something, probably not going to find the engage onto Luch unless he oversteps. But it's kind of the player that you do not want to be giving inches to for free. So
yeah, it certainly is. You can see a little bit of aggression bottom lane as King is just solo farming here. He's still up in CS, even though Cupcake's made a couple of cheeky roams. Also, the fact that they staggered their backs in lane, which even though we were saying as a team you can do that, you just shop when you want to. Doing it as an 80 carry support duo has always been risky.
It's risky because if you ever leave the support alone, they just can't do anything, really. As a dive is
brewing in the
kind
top
of
lane.
brewing,
Chippies maybe going to be under fire here. Gets a cake down. Also uses the ultimate. In goes Seb.
And out goes Seb on the other side of the turret.
I think that's really smart. They get the ultimate. That's a lot of the global pressure for a bottom lane dive, especially with Talia.
Probably hoping they would also get the flash as well. Chippies just tanked that EQ combo. The flag and drag out of the Jarvan and they just buffered his W, so we got a bit of a heal. Did not burn the summoner. But Schönfire looking around the mid lane again. No flash for Luch.
Yeah, exactly right. So Schön just continually looking for counter jungling opportunities, looking to ward out often taken routes within the jungle. Will have been spotted on a ward, so they're pinging out exactly where he is now.
Yeah, but back to the bot lane thing in terms of staggered recall, as Bombers don't go for that. They actually go for the duo recall there. The big thing actually,
Luch is in big trouble. Flash forward out of triple. Headbutt Polcom. Brings him back. Schön gets first blood.
First blood for the jungler, for the Direwolves, and they make it look so easy. Go there once, burn the flash, return with an Angry Cow. That's the easiest flick of Triple's life there. Buffers that with the headbutt. Pulverize combo, that's going to be a demolished proc, and this turret's going to get pretty low.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can see already multiple members heading over, so even top lane, which was looking good for the Bombers, now trying to collapse here. See whether Tiger opens up with the ultimate to slow their retreat. Does not.
But they don't think they can win the fight. Sleeping would struggle to actually close that gap there. Only has the flash to his name, so they do just end up backing away on the side of the Direwolves. They get the kill. The turret is very low, and they're now looking for the bot side of the map.
Yeah, exactly right. You can see that they cut off. They have Talia in the river. So big damage going down bottom lane as well. Rosie will walk through looking for Schön. However, damage done. Bottom lane turret, that's one satchel away from going down now, and Tiger's on half health.
Yeah, Tristana pushes so quickly with those satchels onto the turret. Not to mention he already has that BF and the pickaxe, so the satchel does such a large amount of damage. Doesn't have anything like the Zeal. He has the attack speed from his boots, so big deal coming out for the Direwolves. Advantage it in 2 lanes so far.
Stun misses there out of Tiger as well, so you feel like this is the lane that will be under direct fire. Water around the wall. You can see Cupcake fishing. Triple now has to burn the Zhonya's. Will get taken down very low, however. That's all the damage that comes out of Karma. She has one big ability.
TP channeled by Chippies, but does not come through there. Doesn't want to commit to the play there, so cooldown going to be slightly shorter than normal. But has actually opted in for the Hex Drinker. Knows he's in for a rough time against the Vlad. Does respect the damage that can come out of sleeping.
That's really interesting because we actually saw Chippies play this matchup and it was the Sterix that was picked up second still because obviously Lifeline shares the same passive between Sterix and Hex Drinker, so you can only pick one. And right now, Sterix is just way better, to be perfectly frank. However, against double magic user, he feels like he can get enough value out of the Hex Drinker for a cheaper cost.
Yeah.
And you can see in they go. That is both ultimate and flash burnt. Turret goes down to King right now. One more time. First brick picked up for the 80 carry and support duo of Direwolves. This time it gives them a 3,000 gold lead.
And everywhere Schön goes for the Direwolves, they just seem to get a turret. They seem to get a kill. They seem to get some form of an advantage. That's going to be the blue buff stolen away as well. Bombers are looking to match on the other side, but unfortunately for them, it is not available yet. So, do they look to re-dive the top lane? Chippies, no TP, has the flash, and his ulti is back off cooldown.
Yeah, I feel like they've
but
left
now
this
they're
one
bringing
too
3.
long. They're bringing 3 up, as you mentioned. Level 11 versus level 9. In they go with absolutely everything. So, stopwatch burnt. However, can they pick up the kill? Chippies fall so low and eventually will go down. Sleeping has to use the flash, and now
so
actually
low.
might fall. Triple, however, gets rooted up. The big flick, however, the EQ wins out of Jarvan every time, and double kill is picked up for Luch.
And Bombers look for the dive. They do pick up Triple. Sorry, Chippies, but Triple baits himself in. He wants to finish off the kill against Sleeping, who had to flash away from the turret. Steps just too far forward and does get taken down. Didn't have access to his own flash. So that's going to give Bombers map control right now.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Schön actually looking to contest here. One more time. Just kill Schernfire.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be looking for the dive, but they don't certainly need to be backing off. Stun does miss.
There's no one on the map.
Bot lane for the Direwolves is contesting the top lane turret right now. Luch sitting at about 75% HP dive.
Yeah,
potential.
actually looking for a dive there onto Luch, and everyone is collapsing. Shern will catch Rosie in the river, and you can see that the collapse is now there at a King as well. Rosie just did not go with his team.
Split the AD carry in support. Schernfire King just eat the Taric alive there. That means Tiger also can't commit to the play. He burnt the flash with the W, but he can't curtain call to pick up the kill on the back end of that fight onto Cupcake, so...
That gives them mid lane turret. I mean...
Oh, do they? No. Triple actually looking to go topside right now.
Yeah, I mean, one auto attack would be able to do it. You see King also looking for a couple of cheeky autos on the top lane. Shern will also take red buff one more time. So counter jungling galore out of Shern.
Yep, 20 CS lead. His turret is incredibly low.
All right.
Yep, teleport works. And I mean, you kind of have to question that decision on Triple. He cleared out a pink ward, got some vision for himself, but would have been able to get the turret and then do those things anyway, so...
He honestly would have been able to cancel that teleport with two auto attacks as well. The full tank Jarvan, probably not the biggest threat at the moment, as Rosie again looking to be caught out. Doesn't have the ultimate available. However, heal was used from his AD carry, and now they're looking to continue this fight.
But nothing. The support and jungle duo keep the bot lane busy for the Bombers. Seb looking for chippies again. Just being dived time and time again this game.
Actually, he still has flash. I lie. So just going to be some good damage coming out of Seb. They'll look to trade halves of the map.
Yep, top lane turret is already very low, so will be picked up also the mid, but Chippies doesn't have the cannon barrage yet. Is being dove by Luch. Nice kill on the barrel there. Can he actually continue this one?
Yeah, looking for it. Actually, we'll get the flash out. Shern still just counter jungling away, and you can see that they really are splitting one lane for two.
Yeah, but this could be a 3v3 in the bottom hand side of the map, though. No, Talia. Triple actually cancels his base, but if Luch takes the wrong path here, Schernfire on the Kha'Zix will literally be able to one-shot him here. No flash available for Seb or anything like that to get over the wall, but they do just walk away.
See whether they pull the trigger onto Triple here. You can see multiple members looking to protect that. Top lane, King's just been farming by himself and will just get away scot-free.
I mean, Taric into Tristana, even if he lands the stun, you can just buffer the rocket jump. So very, very difficult for Roses to actually be able to lock down King. And also has no ranged abilities to be able to proc a Jhin passive.
Stun into curtain call, into ulti. I feel like you gotta try at a certain point. You can't let him sit there and free farm. At worst, you have to make him burn the rocket jump and get the heck out of lane.
Yep. I mean, it's the Schernfire effect, but it's the King effect. It's round two. Different champion, different role. Different player.
Same effect.
Same effect.
This is a crap TV show.
What are we? that was the promo. The pilot tanks.
Yeah, it's not getting past pilot phase. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
BL.
Trinity Force pickup is going to be there for Chippies. Reward comes out of Rosie. And you can see that 30 CS has been picked up. Tiger in the end just zooms forward with that Youmu's. So he goes Youmu's, not Duskblade. Yeah, I can respect that. Youmu's great item in its own right.
Yeah, absolutely. More mobility to zoom around a team fight, and obviously when you have that false shot, Jhin is a very scary threat running at your face, flinging his gun around his finger.
Tiger's pretty scary. Not Tiger. Sleeping is pretty scary right now. Got himself boots too, so he's going to fly into that back line, as well as the fact that he's already got the Hextech Proto Belt.
Cupcake was looking for something, but Seb does check the bush, so the cow just runs away. This does mean Bombers have the priority on the top side of the map right now. They've got all 5 members, and Direwolves only have 3, but they are playing aggressive here. Seb actually backing away.
Yeah, you can see that right now. King just steps forward, starts shooting people again, and they run away from him. Sleeping has to go back to that lane, and Triple is actually 2v1ing Rosie and Tiger.
But this is just the thing. Taric, when you're behind, sure, he's like worth an ultimate, but
that's all.
That's it. It's very hard to go aggressive because you have to hard commit for the CC. If it does get flashed by Triple, then you're just stuck in melee range of a champion that's going to absolutely one-shot you here. All he's got is Ninja Tabby and a little bit of health. So, Rosie really struggling to find an aggressive avenue into this game. Chippies just stealing a few gold from the pocket of Sleeping here.
Yeah, starting to actually win some trades as well. You saw Sleeping couldn't clear that wave out without taking half of his health in damage. And I feel like Bombers feel like they are so far behind that they can't take fights. However, Triple, one more time, shouldn't be chasing multiple members out when 4 of his teammates are running towards bottom side of the map.
To me, it just feels like Bombers are playing not to lose.
Yep.
They're not trying to win. They're not making any sort of proactive engages here. They're just bleeding objectives across the map. All 3 lanes have been slowly losing. It seems like Sleeping in game 1 was kind of the proactive portion of the map, and he was playing fairly well into Chippies. But as soon as this game, Chippies gets that Hex Trigger, he's like, well, there goes my kill threat in the 1v1.
Yep.
And then the rest of the 4 are just slowly losing anyway. So Sleeping feels like he's choked out of his 1v1 matchup. He can't get any solo kills there. And his team's not setting anything up in the 4. You just have to question, if you're going to slowly bleed objectives, you're slowly going to bleed gold, this advantage will just get bigger and bigger for Direwolf. So the later you leave it, the worse it's going to be.
And if that's the case, at a certain point you just say, you know what?
Screw it.
Tarek, Twitch, Oriana, Zach.
Submarine.
Like, no, but like just, all right, if we're just going to slowly like get to 2 items every game and lose, at least get the best 2 item carries in every role. Sure, they'll be at 3 or 4 items every time. But
we'll have a really good 2.
They don't even have a good team comp for late game team fighting. So even if they stall this game out, I do not know what their objectives are.
It's all on Sleeping, honestly. The Karma pick's not going to do a whole lot for Jin. He's not really an auto-attack champion. Obviously, you get the 4, but then you have to reload. So when you pair a Karma with something like a Kog'Maw, like a Tristana, you speed them up and they just wreak havoc on the front line. But against the Jin, sure, we'll get a couple of autos off here and there, but yeah, can't really commit to the play. So it has to be the speed up and the Tarek ulti or something going onto Sleeping and then getting into the backline, causing disruption onto Direwolves. But Sleeping looking.
Gets some good damage down. Chippies steps forward, hits him with the auto attack. You can see Kha'Zix is also coming in behind. And this is what Sleeping always has to worry about, is the fact that actually has to ghost away. Shern goes in. TP burnt as well.
Oh, he's fine. He's already burnt the summoner to get away there. Luch burns the TP, does actually commit there. So Bombers do have 4 or 5 members on the bottom-hand side of the map, but Dai was pressuring in the mid lane right now. Just going to float up to the top side.
Yeah, and they just, you know, run towards top lane.
And Chippies was just tickling Sleeping. He was keeping it at arm's length, hitting him with a Q every now and again, trying to bait Sleeping to come into that engage because he knew Shernfire was coming. That's exactly what Direwolves have done with the 3 on the other side of the map as well. Bombers commit to the bottom-hand side, so they're like, okay, we're going to push up mid, we're going to go top, push in the waves, and Bombers can't really make anything stick here.
And teams like Avant now, teams like Order, teams like Sin last week have shown that the way you win in the current meta is just every now and again throw caution to the wind and 5v5 team fight. And the game is so hard to close out that even if you do not win those team fights,
you have 2, 3 chances.
Get at least 3 cracks at it. And Bombers apparently just take 0 of those 3 cracks.
And it's frustrating. It must be frustrating to play.
Oh,
100%.
No one can enjoy playing the game this way.
I mean, it's frustrating to watch. You feel like it's almost, I mean, you've called it an inevitability multiple times, but that seems like what's just going to happen again.
21 minutes into the game, you've lost 3 turrets. You're 6,000 gold down because every lane is just falling behind in CS. Shern is up in CS. Heck, even Cupcake is up in CS.
Oh, yeah, Cupcake.
He doesn't give a damn.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to talk about what Windows Monkey said in his interview, right? Talking about how they want to be insular. They want to work on themselves, what they're working on week to week. If you take a look at the bottom 3 teams right now, Sin, in my eyes, they've shown good games and they've had bad games. And they've been kind of wildly like, oh, this is a really good one, this is a really bad one, and they kind of sporadically jump between the 2.
Even their players. I mean, Bedoink has had games where he
Awful.
picks Yasuo and does not look good.
And then
he has Cassiopeia and he looks like a god.
But then you look at Tectonic, the other one, where steadily week to week, I feel like there is that reliable improvement. Sure, they went from getting stomped to being comparable to then winning at least a game. And then this week in Super Week, are they going to win a series? Is this the first time they win a series? But then you look at Bombers and it's like, sure, they've gone for the same mindset. They're like, okay, we're just going to look to improve week to week. But, I mean, nothing really seems to change in terms of play style, in terms of what they're trying to set up. So Direwolves already had themselves a huge advantage. That's an 8k gold lead at 22 minutes, and it's only 2 kills. It's not like Sleeping and the rest of the Bombers have actually put up too much of a fight this game.
Yeah, and it's just telegraphed, honestly. You can expect, actually, as a little bit of aggression goes out onto Sleeping, still slightly too tanky. You can expect what you can read what you're going to get out of the Bombers at the moment. If you put them behind early game, they're not going to make proactive plays. They're going to look to stall and scale. They're going to look to collect farm when they can, but they're not going to overreach for it. You can play very aggressive in-your-face play style against them, and they aren't necessarily going to look for punishes. Instead, they're going to look to scale and team fight. And I think at a certain point then, teams are just going to continue to do this, which is greedy farm 3 lanes, take their whole jungle away. Seb honestly just has not farmed a can. And Tiger has to burn the summoner spell.
That hurts. Schönfire really hurts right now. He's got himself a dust blade and engage coming out of Cupcake.
That's going to be Tiger using the stopwatch as well, as Chippy's going to be teleporting behind them. That should be Chippy's falling down. However, he's just 1v3. In jumps King as well. First kill goes down. Second kill will be there. Chippy's will fall to Sleeping's ultimate, so very nice play out of Sleeping, and Schön gets chunked, but ultimately that will be our big one team fight for the Direwolves.
And Direwolves, they do pull the trigger on the engage. Cupcake flashes in, and both top laners TP into the 1v3, the 1v4 in the back line, but Sleeping just can't do enough there. Chippies gets a few kills. King can jump forward, but Sleeping just ends up taking down the gangplank. Direwolves maintain control of the game so far. The gold lead extends a bit more. We see this once again, and they already got the chunk onto Tiger. This is really decisive out of Cupcake. The Shiv comes through, does a little bit of damage, and if he doesn't have stopwatch, he legitimately dies before the Taric ulti lands. So nice play by Tiger to keep him alive here, but we see this again. The barrel gets set so low. King is able to flash forward and pick that one up. Rosie's not going to do anything on the Taric by himself, and there's just nothing they can do at this point. Sleeping does take down the gangplank, but the gold lead is too big. King can just jump at Luch, take a Q to his face, and he's fine.
But you actually just saw there that Sleeping does a lot of damage.
Yep.
Tiger's ultimate can set up for fights. If they're not fighting from a 10,000 gold deficit at 24 minutes into the game, maybe that looks a little bit different. And they have some of the tools to start it. They have Jarvan with Taric. That is one of the best gank setup tools in the game.
It's one of almost, if you're on the same page, if you can be cohesive, it's one of the best engage tools, really, because Jarvan can just willy-nilly go in, can throw himself into the front lines. You can have Vlad going with him as well. You have that dive buddy system. You can throw Taric ulti on one of them. Then you can hit 5 members with that ulti. The Taric, Karma, and Jin can kite back.
Yep.
The front line can kite forward.
So what I'm trying, I think what we're both saying is it's not a compositional issue. We don't think it's a raw talent issue. It just seems to be something about the mindset right now of the Bombers. Infernal Drake was picked up. First one of the day.
Yep.
See that
King just soloed that out.
Potentially going for a Bloodthirster. I would prefer to think he's going for an Essence Reaver. As we see Root
You're
landing.
a big Essence Reaver fan.
I love Essence Reaver. But on Tristana, theoretically, it actually does more damage.
Okay.
So, even though it gives you slightly less crit than a second Zeal item, the cooldown reduction it does give to your Q, which is so much attack speed, more than makes up for it. So in the windows that you actually team fight, mathematically, Essence Reaver makes sense, as Triple actually goes into 2 members, and Luch might have to burn Flash, so he speeds himself out of there. Schön still looking for potentially Seb. Bottom side, however, Cupcake has been caught out. Seb does get comboed. You can see Sleeping just wants this fight. They go in on Schön. They will be able to pick him up. Jungle Life traded.
The curtain call from Tiger. The angle's all wrong there. Unfortunately, could not keep throwing things at Schönfire because he got out the side. But as you mentioned, that does mean both junglers trade their lives here. But Dire will still maintain the pressure. Triple in that 1v2. Luch and Seb were actually going top side to gank him. And he just sees them on the pink ward he has in the try. He walks away a little bit. But he actually pulls the trigger on the ulti there. He walls them into the golem, so he burns the flash.
Meanwhile, mid lane, Cupcake has been caught out. A little bit of a question mark stopwatch there. Sleeping's going to be able to grab another kill. So finally, signs of life coming out of the Bombers. They will lose a turret and potentially... Oh, they're going again. That's going to be zooming forward.
Oh, stun does land.
Stun lands. Where's the ultimate? Not yet up and available.
Yep. Fortunately for Tiger, they can't continue that one, but... Death Cap actually going to be the choice coming out of Sleeping. He was basing on a blasting one. Oh, ulti burnt very early here.
Yeah, it certainly is. They want the turnaround play. They want to be able to take
stun misses.
Some of it stun missed, as you said. Now Rosie will fall down. Karma one more time, using that teleport to come in for naught.
I feel like that's just happened time and time again for Luch. Whether it's his fault or just the communication of the team, he has not found effective use of this TP so far.
Schön one more time, wants Seb. He's a tanky man, however Schön still does a sick amount of damage.
Got himself a Hex Drink as well, so he's fairly safe on this Kha'Zix. They're looking to start up the Baron so far.
However, there is no tank there. Chippies is the tankiest member. You can see he takes a lot of damage. Schön also takes a lot of damage. With Rosie dead, they might be able to grab this one. Seb is looking for it, throws a pink ward in. Ultimate out of Jin, 1-2, no will not hit it. In goes Sleeping. A big ultimate will be able to pick up King on the back end, you would expect. No, 2 very good shots will keep him alive.
Nice
Tiger snipes. Chippies continuing to look to go forward. Will be able to slow down Seb, but they want the fight. In jumps Seb, gets the knock up onto Chippies. They will be able to pick up 2 members. So we're 2 for 2 trade right now.
Yeah, but the entire time this fight in a 3v3 is going on, King just does not care. He's at the top side pushing that wave in, looking with the Baron to take down that extra turret. Does he look for a fight here? He might just jump over the wall. Tarek, no ultimate available. Tiger does have the flash and the heal.
Shern is still just searching for people.
Rapid proc. No, not going to do a whole lot of damage there, but nice execution on the Baron by the Direwolves there. Cupcake playing goalie, keeping Seb out of the pit. Otherwise, it would have been a 50-50. You mentioned the curtain call coming out of Tiger could have stolen, but the smite secures it for the Shern Fire.
Yeah, probably need to start shooting a little bit earlier for that first shot.
Yep, it's already on 1100 there. And as we see, Cupcake on the top of this. Sleeping, unfortunately, just barely can't kill King. He thinks it's going to kill him, and then King holds his heal for the very back end of the damage there. And Sleeping tries to get a cheeky Q off to secure the kill, but unfortunately too little too late. Seb, nice pick on the Chuppies here, doesn't have the flash on the gangplank, so he does end up trading his life, but when you are significantly behind in a game like this, trading kills is a win.
For sure. And so they're only now 14,000 gold behind at 30 minutes into the game against 3 Baron buffs. It's going to be Guardian Angel picked up for Tiger.
Yep. That's very safe.
I mean, I feel like if you die, you're dead again.
Yep. 100%.
Get the
100%. Not to mention the Karma kind of will be looking to peel away the Jhin as well. So, like, if she's relying on you to be able to do damage in a team fight, if you go down and then waiting on your resurrection, it's going to be so difficult.
In saying that,
to win a fight.
When you have shields, is a very good stat to pick up. So mathematically, it's reliable.
Fair enough.
I
Maybe I'm just a hater.
Pick up.
Okay. Maybe we're both haters.
Maybe we're both haters.
Wall coming out.
Another wall coming out. That just gives room for the Tristana to start taking pot shots at the turret. That's big damage coming out.
Big.
Curtain call as well. We'll be able to pick up the kill. You can see in-fly Seb off screen. They're continuing to look for this one. Ghost nearly up and available. There it is. Will be popped. And Bombers just want to fight, but Direwolves successfully disengage.
And finally, Direwolves are punished for being greedy. Shernfire and Cupcake were way off on the left-hand side of the screen, nowhere near the bottom side, nowhere near that inhib. And just the 2 carries of Direwolves were setting up under that turret. They were trying to take it down. King might be caught here.
Yeah, he turned around for the creep wave. He should die. Will get the buster shot mid-air. However, that is the full lineup, and they still cannot kill him.
Oh, incredibly well played by King. Buster shot away the Jarvan. Kites around the root range of Luch there, so he does get himself out alive. But Luch does have the flash and the ghost. He could have kept chasing that one. Mantra W means you can tank up the turret, but unfortunately, they don't get anything. They get the Infernal.
Yeah,
so it's going to be 1-to-1 on the Infernals, but that's going to be an
lose out on the mid lane turret. You can see they're trying to collapse.
They
Still in base right now. They do have numbers advantage. They're looking for it. Good slow lands onto Chippies. He does not continue to commit. Turn around. Get Sleeping into that ultimate. Shutdown does go through. And you can see they're just a little bit too far behind. King now will pick up a kill onto Rosie. Look to jump forward. Only Tiger left up and available. And Direwolves, in emphatic fashion, return after a 2-1 and say, we are still the best team in the OPL. We will pick up the 2-0 today. We'll snuff out any hope of a comeback story for the Bombers, and we will retain top spot of the ladder.
Bombers have a very hard Super Week versus the Direwolves, and then Order tomorrow. We'll see them once again. They're looking for the KDA farming right now. Yep, they get themselves an extra kill, but that will be the game going over to the Direwolves, as a lot of people expected. They don't look too phased by that one. Business as usual for the Wolfpack.
But I don't think people expected Bombers to lose like that. If there's ever a game, and I talk about this, if you play against Sin, maybe you play slow, maybe you think we are the better team, the pressure is on us to win. However, against teams like the Direwolves, I think that you play a little bit faster. I think you have to take some risks. I don't think you can play the 100% plays against the Direwolves because they have more 100% plays than you do.
You can't just let them be greedy. Letting teams be greedy is just such an easy victory for the Direwolves overall, to be honest.
Because they already play a greedy style.
Yep.
Even when you look to punish the greedy style, they still play that way. So you playing safe into it just gives them more resources and open up the map. So still Bombers.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what you saw Game 2 Order versus Direwolves, right? They pick up the threat. They're like, hey, we're just going to fight you early. Start getting those early advantages and then try and snowball from there. And I mean, we see that it has been effective against the Direwolves in the past, fairly recently, historically as well. Direwolves have always been the push all 3 lanes and split push style when they've had Fantix on the roster, when they still had Destiny, but different iteration of the roster, fairly similar playstyle overall, and it just seems to keep working.
Throwback Thursday, I mean, Chiefs were able to beat it with Aurelion Sol because they just out-push and out-roam. I mean, when you have a look at it, when teams were able to pick up wins versus them, they just went incredibly aggressive early game and tried to get the snowball work in their favor because Direwolves still don't switch up their style. However, we saw a safe Bombers come out. And honestly, the safety just does not seem to be working. If you fall from a very big height, a safety net doesn't save you.
Does a GA save you, though?
No, apparently it didn't either in that game.
And I mean, that's kind of just been... The most frustrating thing is that that's the criticism that's been leveraged against Bombers week after week. Literally from week 1, when they had their subs, I feel like Choo Choo's was the guy stepping up to the plate playing the Malzahar. His score looked like crap, to be honest, but he was the only one actually looking for engagers into like a Tom Kench composition. So it's already hard enough, but he's like, look, I just have to do it. And he's like a veteran of the scene, has played on multiple teams, Legacy, TM, things like that. And then you see the Bombers with their full roster coming in week 3. Just very safe, too safe. A lot of people would say, and now we're into week 5. It's just the same story.
And honestly, it's impossible to tell how good they are because if they don't ever, for better terms, if they don't ever play the game, it is very hard to tell you how good they are at the game. I can tell you they're good laners because they look okay in the laning phase. I can tell you that the Direwolves beat them in lane today, and then after that, it's just question mark, question mark, question mark. So honestly, more questions than answers right now. However, let's hear from one of the Direwolves, one of the members of the Wolfpack, who's alongside with Laura.
Thank you very much, guys. We are joined here on the couch by Schönfire, picking up another win over the Bombers. Congratulations on today's win.
Thank you.
How do you feel about your team's performance today?
I don't know. It's just good practice, eh? Like, it's one of those games where, like, it's not bloodthirsty and you have to rely on your, like, team skills rather than individual skills. So, yeah, it was a really good day today, I think.
It's just another scrim at this point?
No, I didn't mean it. You know I didn't mean it that way.
All right, I won't stir anything. So last week it looked like you struggled just a little bit against Order.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
How do you come back from that and prep for this week? Do you just put that behind you and look at this as a different game? Do you think I'll apply that next time I play Order, or what's your mentality going forward?
I think it's one at a time. So like, obviously, I remember my game 2. Was had some mental issues there, you could say. I wasn't completely in it, and also just like overall like my philosophy on how to play the game. I've been working on that since, and I think that's why I'm more happy about today, since it wasn't just like my usual like I just kill the enemy jungler and then we just, I don't know, the team runs at us. It's rather we had to earn that win. So I think it was yeah, I think it was a good day.
When we spoke to Triple a few weeks ago, he was saying that you have this presence about you, that when he's in game, he can just feel you next to him. How has it been for you taking Triple and Cupcake under your wing and being able to guide them?
Yeah, I don't know about guiding. I think we just, you know, we feel each other out, and then, you know, we work together from there. I think that especially Triple and Triple and Andy, they just Cupcake for all the people out there. They're really different people to our last teammates. So it was like it's really cool to just work with different personalities and see how it goes from there. So it's still week 4, so we're still working together.
Week 5.
Week 5, sorry, week 5.
Last one for me. Looking forward, who do you think is the toughest opponent for you guys? And are you already looking forward towards the Gauntlet or even perhaps MSI? Or are you just, like you said before, just taking it week by week?
I think it's way too easy to say that Order is definitely this. We are the first team right now, so I reckon.
Yeah, assuming you are.
Yeah, assuming we're the first team right now.
I'll give you
Order is definitely Order is definitely the best team to look out for right now. I think that after that series, like they'll probably bummed that they lost, but they caught us a lot, and especially me. I think they caught me off guard a lot. So I think that especially since I think Spooks improved a lot, I reckon that they're gonna push us even better. So like even if we make it to like international this year, I think that Order pushing us like this far, whether like we make it or not internationally, will make us perform even better, or they perform better. So overall, I just think that we're focusing on like week by week rather than like seeing, you know, the goal. Obviously, we care about the post stuff, but we're working towards it.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations once again on today's win, and thank you so much for joining us on the couch. Also,
Thank you.
a big thank you to T-Gun for joining us and also being Bailey's parent on the couch. It's been a lot of fun having both of you. But to finish off today, we're going to hand it back over to Jake and Bryce.
Thank you so much, Laura. And a very different Shern, like
Yeah.
giving credit to Spooks. And I think that actually he needs to take a lot of credit for the fact that he's elevated the jungle pool. Like always having someone like Radius, someone like Swift or Fantix, when you play against them in solo queue week to week, it does kind of start bumping the position up.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to credit him there. And I mean, Laura, crediting T-Gun with the fact that he was actually Bailey's parent there. But as soon as Schönfire sat down on the desk, you saw Bailey put his head on his lap and was just getting cozy there. So,
Canines look out for each other, man. I mean,
Animal
only one
instincts,
step
Bailey
removed.
knows.
Animal instincts. However, let's bring up the results from today. It was Avant Gaming picking up a 2-1 victory over Legacy Esports before the Direwolves came in, took care of business, and picked up the clean 2-0. Tomorrow we have Order taking on Bombers, who really need to start elevating that gameplay.
but that's rough against Direwolves and then Order. That's a hard task.
Yeah, it certainly is, before Chiefs take on Avant Gaming. Then, of course, on Sunday, more League of Legends action coming your way. Sin versus the Direwolves and Tectonic versus Legacy. Big question now, can Bombers reset? Because we've already said back-to-back games, that's hard. Like, we're here late. It's nearly, I think, 10 o'clock at night, something around that. They're going to have to go to bed. They're going to have to wake up, come back in, and try and get it done again. I mean, that's just such a rough turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, and it is about resetting, not about being able to adapt from this series, because there's just not a lot of time between their series tomorrow morning and their series tonight to be able to like go VOD review sort of thing. They'll come out of that game and won't necessarily have time to watch, but they'll know what went wrong, what was good, blah, 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 things like that. So it is just about like kind of the mental reset, and all the preparation they've done up to this week is kind of what they're going to have to rely on going into the next game.
Yeah, it certainly will be the case. So looking forward to that one tomorrow. However, guys, that is all the League of Legends action we have for you tonight. On behalf of myself, Ejim, of course, Laura, T-Gun, Bailey, and the entire production crew, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks to Hungry Jacks as well. Bye. Flash forward out of triple, headbutt Polcom, brings him back, Shern gets first blood. Can they pick up the kill? Chippy's falls so low and eventually will go down. Sleeping has to use the flash, and now so actually might fall. Triple, however, gets rooted up. The big flick, however, the EQ wins out of jump, and every time. So that's going to be Tiger using the stopwatch as well, as Chippy's going to be teleporting behind them. That should be Chippy's falling down. However, he's just 1v3ing. In jumps King as well. First kill goes down. Second kill will be there. Chippies will fall to Sleeping's ultimate, so very nice play out of Sleeping, and Shern gets chunked. Ultimate out of Jin, 1-2, no, will not hit it. In goes Sleeping, a big ultimate, will be able to pick up King on the back end. You would expect no. Two very good shots, but they want the fight. In jumps Seb, gets the knock up onto Chippies. They will be able to pick up two members onto Chippies. He does not continue to commit. Turn around, get Sleeping into that ultimate. Shutdown does go through. And you can see they're just a little bit too far behind. King now will pick up a kill onto Rosie. Look to jump forward. Only Tiger left up and available. And Direwolves.
Yep, they get themselves an extra kill, but that will be the game going over to the Direwolves, as a lot of people expected.